Well, welcome everybody to Verbally Committed, the podcast here, talking about college soccer, youth soccer, and players, coaches, their journeys, their experiences, and how we can help maybe future guys going into college, future players, and everything that comes with that 4-year degree, playing soccer, and hopefully then going on professional if the players like it. I'm very excited today to have our two guests on today. Isaiah Reid. Isaiah, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Tyler Trimnal.
Yeah, thanks
welcome
for having
to you guys.
me too. Yeah.
Two actually ex-players of ours at Charlotte Soccer Academy. Both national champions. That doesn't happen very often, coming from the same club, guys, and I've had the honour to coach you and know you for many, many years. So first and foremost, we'll go to Isaiah, because Isaiah scored 2 goals in the 21 final in Cary, North Carolina. I know myself, we were in the stands watching, so was Tyler, as a future commit to Clemson. Just run us through that day, Isaiah, all about it. You scored 2 goals. You're in folklore history in Clemson, the Tigers. And then 2 years later you do it again. You're not there, but tell us about your experience.
Yeah, I mean, it was an amazing experience. I tell a lot of people that everything in the moments leading up to that day led to that amazing moment. So going back to even the semifinal against Notre Dame, I remember I didn't have a very good game that game. I actually played one of the worst games of the whole season. And I ended up getting taken out of the game and coach put in Moha. And Moha was on a torn ACL that season. And we ended up getting to the final. And that morning of, championship Sunday, I kind of just told myself that, it's time to make a difference. It's now or never. And I just felt different that morning, honestly.
Yeah.
Just
finding yourself in a different role, though, because, for us, predominantly played left back, number 11. I think you recruited there, maybe a few injuries that season, took you into the number 9 spot, and you just relished in it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a crazy season because both of our number 9s were injured, and so we ended up switching to a 4-3-2-1, and I was playing at the point as a number 9, so having to adjust to that throughout the College Cup and in the national championship, it was a huge adjustment.
Yeah, and not just 1 goal. 2.
Yeah.
You score 1 in a final, and then the second one wraps it up. Tyler, this year, straight back from the final, had a great tournament play for yourself. Started out wide, went to the 9, played a lot of games in the lead up, and started in the final. Your experiences of that night just a couple of weeks ago.
It was incredible moment. I was there in the stands when I watched Isaiah win the national championship, and it's always a moment that I wanted to have for myself, and to be able to get back there with Clemson, it's just an amazing moment. Just a lot of work that went into that. Even the season before with Isaiah as our captain, I still count that team had just as much to do with it as the team that was there, because the work started there from rebuilding the program and getting back to that national championship, and just to do that in 2 years is pretty impressive and just speaks a lot to the program.
Unbelievable. I mean, Clemson Tigers, great history, obviously. 4 times, I think, national champions. Now, me personally as a coach, I had a lot of guys go and play there over the years. How exciting was it when, we've had 5 players from CSA there in the same squad at one particular time. I know maybe last year there were 5 of you in the starting 11 at one time. How does that feel, going down in different years, but rekindling old relationships with guys that you'd played for at the club level? That must be kind of cool to go through that kind of experience.
Yeah, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's super cool. Yeah. I mean, I kind of grew up with Tyler a little bit.
Yeah.
When he was playing, U10,
We
him and Guy,
both from Discoveries early on. Come across to the, to the blue side of the town, just over the border there in Pineville. Some great talent. Some great talent, all with that kind of thing going on. Verbally committed. It's the great thing that everybody wants to hear. When guys now, guys and girls want to post it on their Instagram, on the TikTok. It's a big thing, and it is a big thing to take that step from club soccer. You go through lots of training with us in club soccer, lots of showcases, the nerves maybe when you're going into these events because you want to be recruited by the top schools. I remember when we were in Bradenton, many years ago, Sarasota, we were in the DA, and the schools, and even with the ECNL as well, they're lined up with coaches. How does that make you feel? Even though both of you, I know, are real confident guys, you've always shown great confidence in and around our environment. How does that make players feel? And can other players relate to that when you go into these showcases and you wrote to a load of schools? Because us as coaches, maybe we're not saying, hey, are you nervous? You're this. We're always saying, hey, there's a lot of schools here. They're coming to watch you play, yada, yada, yada. How does that make you feel going into that? And how did you attack that, Isaiah?
For me, I was pretty nervous. You see all the scouts, every college team, even national team coaches. And it's like, it's nerve-wracking. I'm going to be completely honest. But I think the best thing is to recognize those nerves and not let them, eat you up inside, and just use those nerves as, turn them into confidence, and to really get into that flow state and, find your groove and, build yourself into the game. I think that's what I would usually do.
Yeah, Tyler, you were there up front, different kind of positions, first touch, vital.
Yeah, I think, I think it's hard for kids, especially 17. That's a lot of pressure to sit there with 100 coaches on the sideline. It can be that many sometimes, we've seen it in Sarasota.
Well, we've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, and I think, it really shows the kids that mentally prepare the best, that are able to perform in those environments, because, the mental preparation to go into that game has to be like, you have to be thinking about it the night before. Like, how am I going to calm my nerves? How am I going to get my anxiety under control to be able to play at the level that I usually play at?
Sometimes the more you think about it, though, the worse it gets, right?
Yeah, for some people, everyone's different. I think for me, I think I played better when people like that were there, because they got me fired up. And, I've seen guys, even on my team, some of my best friends that, they would throw up before the game when stuff like that happens. So, it's all about you and your process. I think finding your process is important, and that's just a skill to learn when you're 17, because it gets even worse in college when you have to play in front of 9,000 people. So
I think that kind of thing now with anxiety and such, it is a process. It's finding the right way to deal with it. Get maybe your first 3 or 4 touches in. Make sure that you make a good, successful first pass. Don't try anything too ambitious early on, right? Here's me, the coach. We get anxious. Those butterflies that we always used to be called butterflies. And you used to, shake it off, go out there, your first touch, and then you can lose yourself in the game. And I think both of you guys, when you've done that, both played with 100% effort, gusto, always worked hard, both sides of the ball. Tell us about how you feel the importance is doing everything in games. You have to do the hard yards, as it were, the up and back, and how that could generate through a team, both at club level and at college. How does that camaraderie just thrive itself?
Yeah, I think for me, kind of going a little bit back on what you said before, I think the competing aspect is the best way for me to grow into a game. Not focusing too much on having to make the perfect pass, focusing on the controllables, and you can control your effort and your commitment and competing. And I feel like when you do that, it allows you to build into the game. And then, answering your second question, just kind of like doing all the dirty work, the gritty stuff. I think that flows to the team. You see someone working hard and, chasing down balls, getting up and down the pitch, you're going to want to do that as well. And I think it starts, from the leadership, making sure that it's, flowing through the team, but 2, as an individual basis, make sure you're taking care of your own stuff.
And it's about accountability, right? You don't want to let your team down. I think coming into a college environment, that could breed really strong in a great culture of a college program. Clemson have had that. I know other schools have great college programs and good culture. Culture can lead a team. Right? Because especially coming in a freshman to a senior, the senior all. Isaiah, you went through the same process when you came in. Freshman fighting for that time, trying to get on the field. You lead from examples of others, and how that gets handed down, certainly at Clemson University. What are the key traits to handing it down? Hey, you might get your butt kicked here and there, right? And there's always freshmen coming in tight as well. He's always been full of confidence. Not scared of a few words here or there. Yeah. How do you get that from year to year? How does it keep going?
Well, yeah, I'll speak for because I was kind of in this process where Isaiah was kind of like the big brother for me, honestly. Like, it's not easy. Like coming into, I'm sure there's different experiences at other colleges, but I can only speak for mine at Clemson. The culture at Clemson it's not for everyone. It takes a lot. Like, it takes a very mentally strong person, and coming in at my freshman year. I had my ups and downs for sure. Isaiah will be the first one to tell you. He was the captain of the team, and he had to
put the thumb on it a few times, right?
Yeah,
we've all done that with Trimmy, right?
And it's part of growing up. It's kind of maturing, and the guys that learn from their mistakes and mature are the ones that you'll see that are successful, and there's some that they'll funnel out of the system, and that's just the culture of Clemson. Like, they don't really give you a lot of opportunities. Like, you have to be on your game every single day, and that's just the process and the culture, and it's about playing at the next levels.
It is, but also coming in. You come through, Tyler, come in as freshman, you get characters in the game, right? Everybody loves the character, the joker, the one that can make people laugh. That spreads as well. And then the common bond between you guys. I mean, I've always said, soccer is a wonderful avenue to meet friends across the world. Even myself as a coach, been doing a long, long time. I know people all across the US, coaches, players played for us, coaches we've got. There is this union. Do you not feel soccer has this union? Yeah. And I'm sure all sports do it, but it's like a religion. It's just a love affair of the game, right? I mean, I think we've had it, and that's why we try to make training that competitive, but you got to love it. You got to find the funny side of it, and characters are what make the game, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, who are the top characters in your 4 years, and with him coming in now, and as he takes the mantle as you've been gone now, and now we'll say, listeners, that Isaiah's been fantastic. He's now at Houston FC, got drafted next year as a professional player. Clemson seemed to do this year in, year out. Another good crop of players being picked and selected this year. But those characters, how do you manage them?
There's a lot of characters at Clemson, I'll say that. But I think in terms of managing them in learning the Clemson standard and stuff, I think the biggest thing is learning and making sure they have the growth mindset. And I think that's something super crucial that Tyler mentioned, is that, you've seen him this season, he's thriving. He's grown so much as a player, and that's because he's allowed himself to grow. He's allowed himself to learn, and that's how the culture and everything's been built. So, dealing with different characters, we all have one thing in common, and that's the game.
Absolutely.
And that's where we're at Clemson. And if you have one common goal, one common bond, it's easy to be able to, get everyone on the same foot.
And recruiting, for any listeners out there, it's winners, isn't it? We say about winning, losing. At the end of the day, winning could be done in a stylish fashion. It could be done with commitment. It could be done with fun. It could be done with hard work. That winning mentality that thrives in every practice session. Right. Talk us about how competitive it is in a college environment, training session. We'd like to think our club sessions are competitive, but obviously you're going into you guys with the ACC, one of the top programs in the country. Right. How competitive is it in training?
I think from the transition to CSA to Clemson, you just have to take in mind that every single kid out there was one of the best players on their club team. So there's talent from top to bottom on the Clemson roster. Like, no matter where you look, a guy can make a play. And in training, you see guys that'll come in, and there's guys that take it more seriously than others. But at the same time, even the guys that aren't taking it maybe as serious as other guys can still make a play. Yeah. So the level's pretty high, and you have to come in ready every day, from sharp, well slept, and ready to go, because there's guys that are there to take your spot.
How much do both of you think about taking care of your bodies, getting the sleep, the nutrition, all those kind of things as young men in a college environment? Away from home, no one, hey, you might want to turn it in tonight, fellas. There's no one saying you have to particularly go to bed at the right time. You're in a situation where maybe you have your own room in a pod. You really are left to your own devices. I know you'll probably get found out quickly if you don't kind of take care of those things. Both of you, growing up, I knew you always did. There was never the diet Cokes to this. There was always water, Gatorade. Even when we went on road trips with the DA, always ate healthy, and the sleep. How much do you find that has helped you?
I think for me, it's the most important thing, and it only gets even more important when you move up levels. And for me, I think we talk about winning and that winning culture and that winning mentality. The winning is just not in training. It's about It's about winning the day. Yeah. It's about how good can you prepare? Are you getting 8 hours of sleep? Are you hydrating? Are you putting the right stuff in your body? Stretching, recovery. That all adds to being a winner, and then all adds to.
You see that ad with the Colonel? It's on all the TikToks, Instagram. Yeah. The Colonel about getting up in the morning and making your bed, all that kind of stuff, right?
It helps you.
I throw the duvet over. Maybe I could learn a lesson or two here. Tuck the bed. It's an achievement, making your bed. It's a mindset. How does mindset fall into it when sometimes you're not playing, you haven't been picked, massive squads in collegiate soccer, 30 players, everybody goes through it. It's the knife in the gut. You think you've done well at training, you're in with a shout, and then maybe you're not even in the squad, you're not playing, you don't get the minutes you like. You might get 4 or 5 minutes here or there. That must take some getting used to, because you guys, when you played for us, you kind of 90-minute players, played a lot, always, with the rules changing in and out. But in the DA, once you're in, you're in. We had to manage the games. How do you adapt from that? Because I think that will incoming freshmen that might be listening to this is the hardest thing, and getting on board. You can either go one or two ways, right? You have to learn from it, or it's everybody else's fault, that kind of mentality.
Yeah, I think that part of it is just, it's definitely tough. I mean, me and him have both been in it. So, we've both been in there where you're waiting for your chance, you're waiting for your opportunity, and it can be tough. I mean, I'm certainly not going to sit here and say that mine was always smooth, because there's been a lot of moments where, I've had to call my parents, I wasn't doing great. And, there's been a lot of times where I felt that maybe it wasn't going to happen for me. And, if I was being honest, there's been times where I felt like maybe I was going to have to look at something else or find, where can I put my other focus in? But, that's when it comes down to what we talked about, is the guys that are obsessed with the game.
Yeah.
And I was always obsessed with the game. Even when I was saying, I got to find something else, it would almost make me emotional thinking that I was having to give up soccer, So I've always been obsessed with the game. And I think the guys that are really, truly obsessed with the game always find a way out of that. Yeah. And, that's just what I think.
And Isaiah, you also had some injuries along the way. You had a really bad injury with us. I remember down in Sarasota, you were going down the line, your knee. I remember, your dad having to change the flight, drive home from Sarasota because you couldn't get in the airplane, right? You're in the hotel room. We were playing. You're in a pretty bad situation, and I had several months off, and you pick up an injury here or there. That college season is really short. Yeah. I mean, you could really sprain an high ankle injury and be out for 6 weeks and virtually miss a whole bunch of it. Yeah. How did you deal with that?
I think it kind of goes back to that mental strength that I was, taught when I first got into Clemson, and, that was taught by my parents. I think it is so tough. And injuries are one of the many things that you're going to have to deal with, especially going into college. I mean, I know Tyler touched on it a little bit, but you get left off the travel roster, you're getting bad grades, and the coach is like, you need to pick your grades up. And that's another thing. But, going back into the injuries things, the people who are obsessed and the people who truly love the game, they're always going to find a way. Even in the toughest times, you're going to find a way to do your rehab at 100%. You're going to find a way to make sure that you get recovered, safely and quickly. So,
and I think if you love the game, you could see that light at the end of the tunnel. You can watch it, you can get back in it. But then that goes back to the culture again, doesn't it? How are the other guys that in the locker room, you're injured, but they're supporting you. They're saying, you know what, you'll be back in it soon enough. And then at least maybe you come back into training, you're still there, you're doing the runs by the side of the team, but not getting back in. And then that happens not so much in youth soccer with our kind of thing. Right. We always don't have the facilities and the whereabouts to do all that. But certainly with collegiate soccer and professional soccer now, there are some pros that are out for 6-8 months at a time, and now they're getting paid, good money to do that. When you're doing that at college, it's tough. Then you've got to keep up the grades, right? So that must be the toughest time in college. In the college environment is having to go to class when you're injured and you're not playing and those kind of things, as opposed to, you know what, I just had a great game last night.
Yeah.
I scored one, everybody walks into the lecture hall, here it is. And otherwise you got to go slide in and you're not feeling so down. How do you that does take a lot of mental strength, and it takes a lot of dedication, love of the game. Yeah. Any suggestions to any young players, boys and girls, that in that kind of situation?
I'm gonna let Isaiah take this one because I haven't really dealt with a huge injury, so I know he has.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think I've experienced two polar opposites of the spectrum. You know, being injured as a freshman or sophomore, and people are coming up to me and they're like, "Yo, why aren't you playing?" and this and that, and then, you know, scoring the 2 goals in the final, it's like everyone treats you as a celebrity. And I think on the opposite side, when you're injured, it's honestly some of the darkest times. And you really got to stay focused. And one of the things that I really appreciated is that I reached out to people, and I had teammates who were with me every step of the way. I had a good support group to help me get through that. But you got to find other things in your life other than football to help you out. If you only have football, that's the only thing in your life you have going for you, it's going to be tough, you know, because when you're not in the team, when you are injured, you need to find, you know, other things to be able to lean on, you know, to be able to help you get through those tough times. You know, if you're religious, you know, seeking out God, you know, your family, your friends, you know, finding other ways to still win, even though you're not on the pitch.
Right.
So.
Was that how maybe you have your sweatshirt on, Drip FC? We have Drip and Skip. We've all seen it. I'm sure there's many young fellows out across the world now but have seen this on TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. Did that come out of maybe a lower time, an injured time, or was that something else? Because that is soccer. It's grown a little bit. It's grown a lot. You know, I've seen huge. A bunch of kids. My youngest has been on there, and he's got a drip, right? So that we see that on all the airways. Tell us how that come about. You know, because it's really taken off.
And that's funny you say that, because this actually did come through a very dark time during my season. So going back a little bit, it started 2.5 years ago when I was at Clemson, and I kind of did this series for fun. It got some traction. But when I, you know, first started playing pro with Houston, that's when I started it back up again, and it started, you know, really blowing up, you know, going worldwide and stuff like that. And then throughout the season, I tore my quad in the middle of my first pro season, and it was one of the darkest times I had. But, you know, like I said before,
and this was just recently,
right? This year. And like I said before, you got to find other ways to win. And so I was like, you know, Drip or Skip's blowing up. Why don't I start Drip FC from it? And this is while I was injured with my quad. I couldn't train. I couldn't do anything. I was just out. And I was able to build this brand while I was injured. And, you know, now
how many countries are you getting the little the likes and the little thumbs up from now? You know, I mean,
I know the UK is huge. Ireland, England, those are 2 big ones. Germany, Sweden, Norway. We just hit Russia a month ago. It's, you know, it's starting to spread.
That's fantastic. Have you been on?
You know, I'm gonna shout out Isaiah real quick. This guy's a great footballer, but like off like the field with the social media and the marketing page, he's a freaking genius. So if you guys ever have questions like about how to grow like your brand or anything, like this guy knows what he's doing. I mean, I watched it grow from, I don't know, you probably had 30K followers on TikTok, and now he's bagging like 30K on Instagram. It might be more than that now, but there's kids everywhere. There's academy ballers in England, Man City.
Yeah, I
play for everywhere.
Like that's Welsh international. You know, coming from a mining village in Wales somewhere. Shout out to all you Welsh players out there. My mother's from a Welsh family, a small mining community. So I mean, it's getting everywhere. Some of the kits, some of the tape, the this, that. What do you look for in a proper drip?
Yeah, I mean, the series was inspired by. I mean, I'm a Messi fan, but I can't lie. It was inspired by Cristiano Ronaldo. He was. I mean, when he was at Manchester United, he had the wrist tape, you know, the Mercurials, the high socks. I mean, he had those stance over the free kick, you know, everything, the swagger, everything. I was inspired by Ronaldo to create the series. Neymar, Quaresma, you know, all those ballers. So, you know, that's the kind of stuff I look for. kind of like you look good, you feel good, you look the part, and then, it helps, to your performance.
Well, you get all that right, then you could buy the really nice, expensive watches and the chains and whatever.
It's the
that comes
charisma.
along with
It's the
it.
charisma,
You know what I mean? We always joked, Tyler, growing up, we had one with, when you were at the CSA about that you were really close to getting into Wigan, and on a good day you'd be in Wigan's academy or in the first team, and on a bad day you're still Wigan reserves were still calling you. I told Jonesy about that before the final, and he had a kind of little a laugh about that. And then also I know we mentioned you've been on another podcast with your nicknames. We done a thing called Mirror Image, remember, and you came up with with Marcus Rashford. What they had to do, Isaac, when he was U12 in the DA, was they had to come up with a player. We called it mirror image. So they looked in the mirror and they could see that professional player. Yeah. Obviously, not that he's any shy or anything like that, right? We asked one volunteer straight away, hands up. Okay, who are you? And then he goes on to present, I'm Marcus Rashford. Tell us what you said that. That when you were 12 years of age and you're full of confidence. Yeah. You're playing for Raymond and Ben. And we were in the old caravan, Ortho, remember? Raymond brought a TV in. Right. We got it up on the screen there. We pulled up some video stuff, and then you told us all about how you're going to be Marcus Rashford.
Yeah. So yeah, Marcus, he's been out of form a little bit, but yesterday had a good game. But
second half he came alive a bit.
It was a great game yesterday for Marcus. But he's always been one of my favorite players. Ronaldo's always my favorite player. Anybody who knows me knows Ronaldo's my idol, who I looked up to in the game for sure. But coming through, I've been a Man United fan, so we were in a down period, and I see this young kid come in at 18.
You'd be Man United were in a down period, or you?
Oh, Man United were. Well, I mean, same thing. But you see this young kid that comes in against Arsenal, and he just bags in 2 goals and an assist, and he's 18. And since then, I've followed him, and he's been one of my favorite players. He's always been a bright light for the club.
Did you see the game yesterday? A big thing that we talk about, even with when we're coaching at the club, our wingers, we want them to go on the outside. Yeah. We want them to go on the outside and get around the outside. And a lot of players now are cutting in. Isaiah used to go down the left. We used to try and get you round the back. Round the back with sweet left footer, you'll get it across the face, get players in the box. And one of the main reasons that, because we always felt that if you go around the outside, once you turn them, every defender's then facing his own goal. So when you can get the ball across, every attacker is facing their goal. So players come inside. When you come inside, then if you cross it, everybody's facing forward. You've got to have real good, intricate play to break that line and get in behind. What are your favourites? What do you think on the famous? Do I go on the outside? Do I go on the inside? Isaiah?
I prefer the outside, just because I like to have a change of pace, and I like to use my athleticism just to beat people down the line. And I think in terms of upgrading the chance creation, if I can beat the defender down the line, like you said, the defenders are facing their own goal. So I can either carry it to the byline and create a better chance, or whip it across, or even go for a shot. I think cutting inside, you kind of play a little bit to the defender's advantage because you're in front of them.
And I always feel if you lose it there and you committed a lot of players forward, because generally if the wide players have gone inside, maybe the fullbacks are on the spin and go around the outside. And if you lose it, you're open to the counter attack. So how do you get around? You've got round the back. Is there anybody else you wouldn't mind snapping up at the back post and big Rashford here, because he's not bad in the air, is he, at the back post? Let's be fair.
No, he's good in the air. Yeah. Was it Duke this year? Yeah. A couple times. Yeah. So.
But no, I mean, I think obviously, there's players that cut inside and there's players that go down the line. I think that's up for the coaches and the managers to try to figure out how do we draw the lines and connect the pieces, because obviously if you have a left winger, maybe let's say you have Rashford and Mbappe on the left and they're cutting inside and scoring 20 goals a season, you don't want them to say, oh, we want you to go down line. But then you look at Man United, I'll just use them as an example right now. They got Højlund through the middle and they've struggled to getting him service because all the wingers cut inside. Yeah. So there's no service for him down the line. So it's about finding a balance in a team. And
we're not saying you can't cut inside, because there's lots of movements that can. And I remember, I think when you were real close to verbally committed to Clemson, we were down at Greer. It was the COVID. They were streaming all of the games, and I think you were being watched at the time. And I think in the first half they're playing up the hill, couple 2 or 3 crosses, you popped up near post and back post, back two, which kind of sealed the deal, I think, for the Tigers to say, come on, boy, and join the rest of the crew. How How did it feel? Let's talk to me about that time when you got the call from the staff at Clemson. How did it feel when they said, "Hey, we want you to be a Tiger"?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of relief because I kind of was always hoping and kind of always wanted to go to Clemson, and kind of knew that if I got the offer, no matter what it was, really, I was going to bite on it because I was going to bet on myself. And I think, it was just one of those moments where you realize that a lot of hard work had come into tuition. So finally just being able to take a next step forward and being able to say, whew, I got the process over with. It was just a really good feeling for me and my family.
Yeah, because you were in the junior year. You were the same, I think, Isaiah Reid.
My sophomore year.
Sophomore.
Yeah, he was even
recommended really early.
Yeah, you were real early.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Yeah.
And who delivered the news to you then at that point? Was it Coach Noonan?
Yeah, it was Coach Noonan.
Yeah.
I mean, I think me and Tyler are very similar because we're both from South Carolina.
Yeah.
And we both are Clemson fans. So it just means that much more, that not only we're going to a good, program, but it's a school that we've loved since we were kids. So it just means that much more.
Well, the camps over the years, right? Are always good. Like all the college camps, they're all good. There's the stay away camps. You can go and have fun. You kind of get noticed in their environment, especially, I think, if you are characters, right?
Yeah.
Characters stand out. Coaches love characters. They want to, we want to get the boys out of it. We want to make sure, because that it lends yourself to leadership roles, and you've both been captains for us at Clemson. Tyler in the future, maybe wearing our band down at Clemson here.
We'll see.
What did it make you feel? What's the role of a captain in the collegiate and at club level? What's the best thing to do? What do you think there?
I think the best thing to do is one. So I remember I was told this. I think Paul Klaus, he came in and told us this, and he said, first you got to lead yourself. Yeah. And then after you lead yourself, you can lead others, and then you can lead the organization. So I think it kind of goes down to one, making sure that you as an individual are doing everything you need to before you can lead other people. And then as a captain at the collegiate level, it's about teaching, instructing, bringing people along with you. When I'm a senior, I'm teaching Tyler about the Clemson standard so that when it comes to sophomore year, he's bagging goals in ACC games and stuff like that. So, it's about, having patience, having, the respect of the team to be able to teach and to bring people along with you to reach the common goal.
Well, you spoke about this year, a moment, and I think in any successful season, any successful team, there are highs and lows, peaks and valleys. There's games that you should have won and you didn't. There's games that you did win and you possibly shouldn't. How much in the collegiate environment, and I think this, fares for most colleges, is that committee, that little team of players that maybe could get away with saying something to the players that maybe the coaches wouldn't, or how much does it really resonate from that committee of players that say, hey boys, this isn't good enough. You kind of take that lead role, and this happens in professional clubs as well, where the manager, the coach will just stay out of it and let. They always say that the strong characters, the leaders, they police the dressing room, they police the locker room, they get those situations ironed out, and then the second half comes out, whatever, a new team emerges. Yeah. That was an experience that you had this year for the betterment, right, Tyler?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, I always say, respect comes naturally. If to earn respect, you got to lead yourself, and you got to be showing that, oh, this guy, I can get behind this guy. And because everyone in that locker room has an ego, whether it's a big one or not a big one. Everyone thinks they're good and they have their voice matters, and it does. So, you have to be that guy in a locker room. You have to have ultimate respect and great leadership qualities. And, Isaiah was that for us. And, him and Alva, they both did a great job. And this year we had Brandon and Lundy who did a great job, but also we had Gael step up, who was also just as big. And that's the story. That's the story I try to tell people is you don't have to have the armband to be a leader, because just
and there's different types of way to lead, right?
Exactly.
By example, by instruction, those kind of things. Talking about some of the guys that come in college now in the US, a lot of internationals, a lot of international players, great players that come over from overseas, come in and mix with South Carolina boys in Clemson. how's that? Must be a great cultural experience, obviously. You know, if you get some boys from over the pond, maybe the banter's, pretty good, that kind of thing. And you two both really enjoyed the banter.
Love it.
And I think that's important, right? So how is the international flavour? And obviously Clemson has some drippings of it, and most colleges do. How is that?
I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
It's so fun just getting to interact with all them. Like, I mean, we have guys from Senegal, England, just everywhere, honestly. Yeah. And the banter's good, the vibes are good. It's cool just being able to just hang out with different people.
Yeah.
And you find out like different people are goofy and stuff like that. Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah. We're all the same at the moment, right? You love a love for soccer, want to play, want to compete, those kind of things. Take us through a normal, for anybody listening, going into college, what's a normal week like, the kind of workload you get? Obviously, if you've got 2 or 3 games, but maybe pre-season, because pre-season, I think everybody could underestimate it. I don't think many people overestimate it. I think they come in and go, wow. Difference from going from the club, us 4 days a week training, hour and a half a day, without any of the real kind of stuff that you need athletically. How is that preseason advice to guys going in, maybe coming in January here now if they've graduated early, or in June or July, going into that environment? Most colleges now are equipped with, athletic trainers, good fitness apparatus, everything you need. How much did you prepare for it? Did you prepare for it? Or was it naturally 2 fit guys going in? Your thoughts on that?
So, preseason in college is, it's tough. Yeah, there's no way of getting around it. It's tough. So the way I'd say prepare for it is like, for me, I strengthened my muscles, tried to get them so that they wouldn't get injured with high loads and running and stuff like that. I would always run like probably once a day in the summer, just even if it was a light jog, just getting my legs used to the load. But even that didn't really help me much. Clemson,
you go pretty early.
It just
June, didn't, that kind of thing.
It just didn't help me much. Like, there's nothing like it. So you just got to get into
just
it.
Like game fitness. Yeah. Right? You can train all you like until you get into the game. Listen, when I played many moons ago, I used to be knackered in the warm-up. But that was the second wind.
Right.
Remember, you get the second wind, and then you're ready to go. I could run all day then. Yeah. Once I had my second wind, going from the levels, Clemson, Houston, same, bit different approach.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot different in terms of the speed of play and the quality. I mean, when you're playing against Hector Herrera, he's played in a World Cup. Yeah. Obviously the levels are going to be a bit higher. But in terms of like the fitness and stuff like that, it's about the same. You just gotta prepare yourself at a high level. Injury prevention, that's super important as well. So in terms of the athletic side, it's a little bit of a jump. I think me coming from Clemson, it wasn't too much of a jump, but definitely on the ball. Just the first touch.
Lessons you've learned in the first maybe 6, 8 months, 9 months of being a professional player. Well, any couple of lessons that you've picked up, or tips for anybody making that transition here, that going in, just being in the draft, going in. Yeah. Obviously, Brandon Parrish, Tyler, and a couple of the other guys have got in. How quickly does it adapt? I think you can adapt, though. Yeah. Yeah,
you can adapt. I think for every person, there's a growth period. Sometimes it's 2 days, sometimes it's 2 months, maybe 2 years for some people. But I think one of the biggest things at the pro level is mental, because there is a lot of things going on, and there's a lot of things that are out of your control that are going on as well. Because it's a business. When you get to professional level, so you got to deal with certain things like contracts and trying to get into a team, and maybe dealing with first team and second team, all that type of stuff. And you got to be able to have the mental strength to battle it all. Even in training sessions. Sometimes in college, you can maybe take some plays off, take some trainings off. You have to be completely locked in. However long training is, you have to be locked in. You have to be sharp. Even if it's a light day, you got to make sure your first touch and everything is completely sharp. So what I can tell college players to prepare them for the professional level, at the college level, don't get too comfortable. Make sure that you're doing everything at 100% and pursuing excellence, because that is the standard when you get to the pro level. So just because you're, at your college and you might be the guy and, you're getting PT and goals, that doesn't mean anything. You need to train as if you're going to be a professional.
Yeah. Well, we used to say train like pros, play like pros from within our youth ranks. We done an episode of this with actually Doug Allison. Obviously long-time Furman coach, and we had Graham Seagraves, who is a parent and was a player at Furman, and we had the fortitude to have Clint Dempsey on as well, and he kind of echoed the same kind of things that you guys have just done. So it's kind of like an epidemic. Once you get into this environment and you get into it, Clint, obviously one of the top strikers that the US has. The GOAT, yeah. There's been a few, but certainly his mentality. He spoke about the mentality of winning and pushing people out the way to get there. They can still be your friends, right? But you've still got to have that mentality. Talk about how you do that in that environment.
I think it's a balance. Like you just have to. It's one of those things where it's like Isaiah said, like you either have it or you kind of don't. Like you just got to be obsessed with it, and you got to come in every day and try to get better and like have a goal. And our coaches at Clemson, they stress it every day. Like you should be like before you come in the morning into the locker room, you should have like 3 things on your mind of how you're going to get better today, how you're going to improve, how you're going to become a better player. And just having that little mindset of like, okay, today I want to make sure my first touch is clean. I want to have 90% pass completion. I want to make sure that all my shots are on target. Like those little details and those little things just help your game improve and improve and improve. And that's just kind of what I've learned from Clemson. But
yeah, what about game prep, Isaiah? As in tactical at the college level, tactical going into games with Houston. We at the club, we do a little bit of game prepping, maybe a video on Zoom, that kind of thing, formations, things maybe we worked on in training as memories, triggers, how we're going to press, how much in the college level, going to the pro level, about the same. I know a lot of colleges do some really great prep stuff, the opposition scout, all those kind of things. Doing your meetings beforehand. Too long, too short. As a coach, do you want it too long? If you lose interest, short. Everybody says 10, 15 minutes. I don't know if that's the case. Players could lose concentration, but you got to be focusing the small, minor details. We speak about, I try to speak about with players, is that 5%. The 5% extra, the real small bit, the adjustment of your shoulders or receiving with the back foot, those kind of things. How much does that go into the importance and the success of winning? Both of you guys, 2 national collegiate champions.
So are you talking about the details in terms of the tactics or like technical type?
Tactics. The prepping, the watching, the opposition scout, that kind of thing.
I think it's huge, honestly, because it kind of gives you a picture of how the other team's going to play. And I think in these film sessions, it kind of, gives you a framework and a structure to allow you to be yourself and play freely. So it's like, you're seeing the other team, but you're also focusing on what you're going to do, like how you're going to beat that team. So I think it's more in that. And I think it's, super helpful. I'm sure, even in the 2022 season, there are times where, Camilo, we would scout perfectly and we get like a corner kick or something. It's just like to perfection. I know the Wake Forest or the Duke game, we're in the ACC tournament. Yeah. That was a masterclass of tactics, just
genius.
Switching some things, and then we come out on top in those results.
What are the set pieces? The Villa goal yesterday, right?
Oh yeah.
Everybody's, and then you see I think the set piece coach. I think it's the Austin McPhee. I think his name is. I think he played at Wilmington actually. Going to the cut when they score, and it's like just comes, everything on the training ground just fell into place and they score. Yeah, and then
I don't know if I agree with that law though. Like it's a little messing with the keeper a little too much.
He's running out. And then Salah yesterday is he's pledged offside from that shot. But your youth careers, advice to now these guys that are coming into as juniors, seniors. How many emails did you write out at that point? You know, we're telling them they have to communicate with coaches and keep working with these coaches. College coaches get unbelievable amounts of emails. Yeah. We try and say, get on the list early, keep repeating, build relationships, those kind of things. Because I truly believe that college coaches like to see persistent young players.
Yeah.
You know, if you write an email and nobody responds, and then you write another one. You know? I don't think, you know, we've heard it, I've been ghosted by the college coach because they haven't responded. And I don't really believe that is true. I think you have to be persistent. And I think college coaches like that. Maybe they're knocking on the door. Hey, you know, I want to come in. What can I do? I want to be here. I want to be here. Talk about that process that you both guys went through.
Okay. So for me, I feel like I sent thousands of emails, like honestly, as many people as I could, honestly, just because I just wanted to put my name out there and let everyone know that I was interested in playing at the Division I level. And I think, like you said, persistent. That's how you have to be, and you have to kind of have a little bit of confidence about you that like you're basically sending an email to them telling them that you can play on their team. So you have to have that confidence, and you have to have the film to back it up. And when they come and watch you, you have to be able to back it up. And it's just that simple, because they're going to be interested in a player that's interested in their program. No matter, like, they will, they obviously don't get to read every single email, but if they read your email and they see that you are interested and they're going to be at a showcase where you're playing, they're going to come watch you. So you have to be able to back that up there. And, and being persistent. Once they email you back, don't take too long to respond. Like, be on top of your game, be organized. I think that's all that matters and all that's important. I mean, 100%.
I'd say, and that leads into going into college, obviously, checking emails, checking this, checking for studies, those kind of things. How much of the studying does it take up of your week, depending on how many classes you're taking, those kind of things? How did you find that, getting the homework in on time, getting the assignments? Because, we love soccer and we're all in it for soccer. But at the end of the day, Clemson has given you a great education as well, which you've taken in now to your entrepreneurial exploits, Strip FC and elsewhere. How much of that education would you give advice to young? I'm here to play soccer. I'm I'm going to go pro, this, that, and the other. But that education is vital. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I definitely think it's vital for sure. Well, I know for freshmen, we would have 10 hours of study hall.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
So your freshman year, it's mandatory 10 hours. So you got to be able to balance that for sure. But in terms of education, I mean, you have, 2 or 3 classes a day. You got to lock into those, maybe some study time as well. Got to lock into the test as well. But the education is super vital because, just like you mentioned, now with, my degree in sports communication, I did an internship as well. I'm able to use those skills to be able to, build my brand and stuff like that. So I think it's extremely valuable. So.
Yeah, and I think you have to keep it up. How about the early mornings, those kind of things still? It could be a grind. A lot of coaches, you train early. Everybody's got to fit in around their class schedules, those kind of things. The heat as well. Remember, you guys were in South Carolina early morning with the dew on the floor, and you're coming up. How hard is it to get up? And then obviously that falls back into a question we spoke about earlier on, is your nutrition and your sleep habits.
So Isaiah will tell you, my freshman year, I struggled bad. Like, I'm just not a morning person. So no matter what, like, every day is like I have to grind to get up, but it just
2 or 3 alarm clocks.
Mine's probably like 5 or 7, honestly. But no, like, it just comes down to like. So
I hasten to say, you never done a paper round before you used to go to class or anything.
No. I'm like the guy that's like going and getting a to-go box from the dining hall. Like, all right, I gotta go. But no, it just comes down to how bad do you really want it. And no matter, like, I was not a morning person, so I had to train myself.
Well, all the games at youth soccer, we played at 8 a.m. kickoffs and everything else. And, it's tough for everybody, right?
Yeah, it's
getting
tough.
To the fields at 7 a.m. and having to perform, and
So it's like that every day. Yeah. But no, you have to train yourself just to get used to it. And like you said, sleep is so important. So like if I'm used to going to bed at 11, might have to make that I'm going to bed at 10 or I'm going to bed at 9 just to get that amount of sleep. So when I wake up, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. Yeah. That all plays a part to it. So you can see the guys that struggle with it. That's so obvious to the guys that struggle with it and who don't. But my freshman year, I'm not ashamed to say I really did struggle with it. Yeah. And
I heard somewhere in a report that kids go to school in Scandinavian countries, they go at like, the brain is not active until about 10 a.m. in the morning to get the best out of it, and then they go for 2 or 3 hours to school, and then they're out of there again. How long are the lectures? Can anybody expect to go into college? Is it an hour? Is it 50 minutes?
Yeah, it would switch between what classes you have. So sometimes it'd be 50 minutes or 45. Other times it'd be like hour 15, hour and a half. Yeah. And oh my dude, sometimes a long training session, and then you have an hour and a half lecture.
Yeah, how many times you fall asleep in those classes? You don't want the administration of Clemson to find it out. Certainly you, Tyler, you're still there. So Isaac could come clean, but it's got to be tough, huh?
It's so tough. I mean, just balancing everything at the same time. You have a long session, and then you have to go to class. You have 3 classes or 2 classes back to back, hour and a half lecture, biology or whatever class it is, or English or something like that. You're not interested in it, so you're just in there. You're just doing your best just to stay locked in. But it is tough.
I know. Well, hey, I know both of your families real well. Obviously, great support of you growing up as kids. How much of that family support? How much did your mum and dad saying things that sometimes you think Then you say the famous words, you'll see that this works out later. Talking about that, just real quickly, how much your parents could really help you in supporting you through this journey?
Yeah, they're a huge help. I think they're my go-to support system in all scenarios of my life. So, I'm grateful to have both of them. And, they are a big reason for where I am today. And I think it's important for parents to understand that, sometimes the kids are going to call home and they're going to complain and they're going to be like, I hate it. I'm not doing well. And it could just simply be because they had a bad, literally 2 hours of a training session. Yeah. And it's important for the parents not to necessarily react and be like, oh, we got to get him out of there, or we got to go get him out of school. Like, he's
some
not
tough love.
Yeah. You gotta be a little bit yes, talk to the kid, calm him down, but then let him know wait a minute,
it passes,
this is what you signed. This is
that 2 hours of
isn't this what you signed up for?
Yeah.
And I'll just tell you, in the season I was in, I started the season not rostered in preseason this season. And I wasn't getting a lot of playing time early on, and things happened and things changed, and clearly in that time period I was in a really dark period for me. Yeah. And I kept trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and finally it came, and I took my opportunity. So you never know what can happen in football if you just put your mind to it and keep grinding.
It could happen in 24 hours, right, Isaiah?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
So that's good. What advice now would you give club players coming out, going into college?
Yeah, I'll let you take this one.
So club players going into college, I'd say the college game has changed a little bit from when me and Isaiah were getting recruited, just because the transfer portal is so frequent.
The portal's in now. Listen, I've been coaching in the States about 28 years. College soccer has got dramatically so much better now. Some of the soccer that is played, and I've watched a lot, both of you guys playing there, other schools in the Big South, the Carolinas, some really good soccer being played at this moment in time. So I think it's a great achievement if you can play college soccer and go get an education, because I think some of the soccer is really good now. Do you find that?
No, 100%. I think it's important for kids to understand, listen, the average age on a college soccer team has gone up as well, because, with COVID and everything, you got some guys are 25 still playing in college. Some guys, so it's very, very, very difficult for an 18-year-old to come into a Division I team and be getting the starting 11. So you have to be realistic.
Yeah, so that use of the red shirt, it could be vital, could be a great learning experience, like an apprenticeship in how to learn your trade right. And so many people, I think, they feel their ego's been chipped if that happens, but it really isn't the case. It really is. It's a great learning opportunity. Isaiah, you want to take that one?
Yeah. I never really redshirted in my college career, but I know, several players
that have been around you, though.
That
you've seen the growth through.
One perfect example, I know Quinn McNeil. He took a red shirt, and he was absolute lights out player for his 5th year. Signed with Charlotte FC, absolute baller for them. So, you know, there's a ton of players who have used the red shirt to their advantage to be able to, you know, push on to a professional career even. Yeah.
So just as we wrap up here, it's great to see you guys. Great. Good luck and everything for the future. But just about your youth career, a couple of things you take away from your youth career, playing together, playing at CSA. Any fond memories that you'd like to share? Because there's boys from our club and all around the country that want to be going into college and looking back on some nostalgia. And we've done some sessions, alumni sessions. Great to see people back out from all walks of life coming back out and playing. But what do you got?
I think like the showcase tournaments, oh my day, those are just so fun. Like just going to the showcase tournaments, being in the hotels with the boys, playing FIFA and Fortnite in the hotel rooms in between games. Like everything about those tournaments is just awesome. You're gonna remember those for the rest of your life. Like it's that camaraderie, it's the brotherhood. You never forget those friends, those memories, right? And I know you guys stay in touch with a lot of the guys from your club stuff. We were. Me personally was lucky enough to work with both of you guys for many years, and so proud of what you've done and the achievements you made and for individually for yourselves. We wish you all the very best of success in your future endeavours. Certainly at the Drip FC and at Houston, Tyler going back in and killing it again. So is there another national champion coming down the street next year? You know, there'll be some other schools saying no, but what do you reckon?
I mean, you know, Clemson's always going to be in the conversation, so we just have to perform and get our processes right. And if we do what we're supposed to do, hopefully we make a run somewhere and win another trophy. So
and there's so many. It's about luck. Bit of luck as well. There's so many good college programs out there. We've had players that gone to all different schools, and it's tournament play though, isn't it? It's that tournament play where the
better
roll
team
of the
on
dice, the PK, whatever, one game off, which makes it exciting. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. Thanks very much for dropping in. We wish you the very best luck. Have a great new year. And for anybody listening, this is Verbally Committed, where we talk about college soccer, coaches, the journey, the pros, the cons, how to get through it. We want as many American players coming in through and getting in up from our clubs, all our clubs across the country, to experience what you guys have done, Isaiah, and now in the professional ranks, as many people have done that, and then obviously Tyler coming through the ranks, and not everybody can be a national champion, but you know, great stuff, and thanks for coming in, boys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
good stuff.